I decided to come back by.
I decided to come back by because
think
from what I heard, I think they're
intersect
gonna
and join
intersect
up with some
and join
people.
up with some
So I
people.
want to see
So I want to see
if they're be joining up.
if they're be joining
Yeah,
up.
they are. This is gonna
Yeah,
get
they
big.
are. This is gonna get
This is
big.
gonna get big. It looks like
This is gonna get big. It looks like it's gonna get big.
Let's see.
Let's see.
They are now on the block of the federal building where we believe they're headed as I move the camera
Let's
north
see.
along Alameda Street.
Let's see.
Let's see. The rats have come out. The
Let's
rats.
see. The rats have come out. The rats have come out.
They've
So
been standing for much of the morning
Cockroaches.
the
coming out.
cockroaches coming out.
here earlier when we
Yep.
flew over this before
Yep.
heading over to Boyle Heights and following that other group of demonstrators, that larger group
Yep.
through downtown.
Yep.
We did check.
We got National Guard.
We got National
rats
Guard.
looks like there's a fight
These
right
rats
there.
looks like there's a fight right there.
See if I can go in a little tighter
Yeah.
on camera.
These rats are
Yeah.
out. The rats
These
are
rats
out.
are out. The rats are out.
The cockroaches. have
The
come.
cockroaches have come.
Guard troops standing outside the federal building in a line earlier. You see more of them now. I'm counting at least 30.
National
And
Guard
this does
right there.
look like
National
the
Guard
National
right
Guard
there.
outside the federal building. This morning we did hear that a couple hundred troops had been stationed in at least 3 different locations in LA. This is one of them, 500 block of North Alameda Street. And you can see people in the streets here. Traffic at a complete standstill. No cars are coming through here. And then additional protesters now marching north along Alameda Street to join this group.
You can see all these people that
You can
cross
see
the
all these
freeway
people
and
that cross the freeway
the
and
aqueduct.
the aqueduct.
They came all the way.
They
so
came all the
anybody saw
way
it last
so
cast.
anybody saw it
And
last
they joined
cast.
up.
And they
The
joined
rats
up.
decided to
Like
join
the
up
rats decided
right
to
there.
join up right
They're
there.
taking over roads.
They're taking over
They're
roads.
obstructing everything, traffic.
They're obstructing everything, traffic,
That's what
everything.
rats do.
Because that's what rats do.
This march for quite some time coming from Boyle Heights. It looks like they're making moves to turn. I don't know where they're leading these demonstrators, but it looks like this could converge
Welcome to
into
Tunnels
one
Hardcore
large
Radio.
Welcome to Tunnels Hardcore
protest
Radio.
effort
Watch it
to
like tell me what you
200
think.
people,
I
altogether.
just try to see about another.
I just try to see about another shot this in C4 LA.
Yeah, here it is.
Yeah, here it is.
Shoot him!
Shoot him!
Shoot! Shoot!
Shoot!
Shoot him!
Shoot him!
Look at that. They're not going to do it.
Look at that. They're not going to do anything if you don't use real lead. I hate to tell you, but anyway.
Look at that. His mother just kicked him
Look
out
at that.
of the
His
house.
mother just kicked him out of the
This is
house.
what happens.
This is what happens.
Guy just left the mental institution.
Guy just left the mental institution. He's routed out the institution. This is.
Just hit him in the face with that paintball.
Just hit him in the face with that paintball.
Head off.
He'll knock his head off.
Show 'em what you're made of.
Show what you're made of, tiger.
Show 'em you're a tiger.
Show you're a tiger.
Show your shit.
Show your shit.
Oh, man.
Oh man. Oh man.
Guys are like, oh my god.
Guys are like, oh
I
my
just got out of the
god,
mental institution.
I
Look
just
what
got
I
out of the
can
mental
do."
institution, look what I can do.
This is real bullets.
This is real bullets. Yep, get the hit.
Why do I think the police?
Why do I think the police forgot? Oh yeah.
Oh, okay, they're getting reinforced.
Oh, okay, they're getting reinforcements.
Lobby journalists.
Lobby journalists are there.
Lobby journalists.
Lobby journalists.
So the dirty rats
So
scouted.
the dirty
when the big
rats
cats
scouted
came.
when the big cats
Big
came
kitty
in.
cats came.
The big kitty cats
The
came in.
rats scouted.
The rats scouted.
There's the mental.
There's the
There's
mental.
one of the escape mental patients.
There's one of
right
the
there.
escape mental patients right there.
FU2, dude.
FU2, dude.
You got people at parking
We got
garage
people
with
at the
their
parking
coordinating
garage
stuff.
with their coordinating stuff.
You can see here in the roadway, it
those
looks like
people
something
could
is being
be-
These
deployed
people, those
in
people
the crowd.
could be
This could be
coordinating
canisters of tear
intelligence,
gas.
but that's what I would think.
And this is quickly dispersing protesters who've been standing in
Rioters,
the
you
moving
rat.
back.
Rioters, you
They're
rat.
deploying
Bitch, stop
Riders, you
their
bitch.
protest.
Stop saying
Some
they're
people are
protesters,
running
dude.
out of the way, others walking, and then you see people running toward these troops, toward the federal building. There's a man here, he's turning around now. I don't know if he just got some tear gas in his face, but people are moving back quickly. This group of demonstrators, they've been standing outside the federal building for hours now, and then this second group came up from Boyle Heights, just joined them. It's unclear what led to this escalation. I don't know what prompted authorities here to deploy tear gas and try and move them back. We didn't hear anything about a dispersal order, but you see now these demonstrators are definitely moving back from the federal building here on North Alameda Street, where again they've been stationed for hours today.
What the hell is this?
On this
What the hell
third
is
day of
this?
the immigration protests here in LA.
Shoot them.
Shoot
Do
them.
that. Just
Do that.
live
Just
rounds.
use live
That's a weapon.
rounds. That's a
Vehicle's
weapon.
deadly weapon.
Vehicle's a deadly weapon.
And just like that, the smoke is cleared, and it looks like these National Guard troops are getting back into the formation we spotted earlier, just standing there single file in a line, and it looks like the crowd is moving back in. They're slowly creeping back up toward the federal building as more vehicles
More
drive
reinforcements
through
coming
here.
More
Again, we don't know
reinforcements
where they are
coming in.
coming from
Right there.
and who might be in those vans. This now looks to be a much smaller
Wow.
crowd
Wow.
directly in front of the federal building. It looks like most of the group that marched here from Boyle Heights is now hanging back.
Taking over the street.
This
Taking over the
intersection.
street.
And this was that gold pickup truck that kind of led this
Rats
march,
are out.
Rats are
along
out.
Street and then Alameda. But in addition to that, we do have people standing on the sidewalks here lining Alameda Street. And then a couple people from the group that was initially outside the federal building that are now starting to inch closer again.
What is this van doing here?
What is this
What
van
is that
doing
guy?
here? What is that guy?
You got people over here.
You got people over here.
What are they doing? Are they coordinating
What are they
stuff,
doing? Are they
intelligence to
coordinating
these
stuff,
protesters,
intelligence
or
to
what?
these protesters,
Or
or
are they
what?
just reporting?
Or are they just
or what?
reporting, or what?
What are they doing there?
What are they doing there?
But if this is a protester's
And
vehicle,
if this is a protester's vehicle, they should have it.
break the
They
windows
should
to get the guy out.
break the windows to get the guy out, because you can use that as a shield for the
When you do
protesters.
that, that's like a shield.
When you
for
do
the
that, that's like a
protesters,
shield for the protesters.
unless it's
Unless it's,
federal.
I don't see it being federal.
It looks like there's a woman walking through the crowd now, setting up orange cones. I think she might actually be with the protesters. I don't know if they're encouraging people to move back, or if they're trying to get this into more of an organized formation, but people are now spread out up and down this block.
I hope this isn't the only feed.
I hope this isn't the only feed of.
I hope other helicopters out.
I hope
They're just
other
taking over
helicopters
streets
out. They're
and
just taking over the
these
streets as they're out there doing these cockroaches.
Alright, they totally support the
Alright,
cartels.
they totally support
gangs,
cartels,
human
gangs,
sex trafficking,
human sex trafficking, all sorts of stuff, rapes and murders and everything like that.
Total piece of shit, people.
Total piece of shit, people.
Hey, Desk, we got about 10 minutes of fuel left on station. 10 minutes.
Just park you right there. Take
Just
it over
park
the
you
street.
right there, take it down the street. How nice.
Copy that, Desk. Okay, those of you streaming with us, we do need to land News Chopper 4 and refuel, but we will be right back at our fantastic.
Sounds like they need to refuel.
Sounds like they need to
Israel is
refuel.
monitoring this
That
demonstration
sucks.
and
That
others that might
sucks.
pop up, so we will be right back overhead as soon as we can. Thank you for streaming with us.
Yeah, just like.
Yeah, just like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're on their way out. Get
they're on their
fuel.
way out.
Alright.
Get fuel. Alright.
Flush your eyes out with water? Okay, good. No, water makes it better. Flush it and blow your nose.
All these losers.
There.
There.
God hates science. What an idiot.
God hates science. What an idiot. Whatever.
What an idiot.
What
God
an
hates
idiot.
science.
God hates science. Oh my god.
Hey, that guy.
Hey,
I
that
know
guy.
That guy.
I know that guy.
I know that guy.
I know that guy.
He's in real life.
He's in real life. Yeah.
He's
He's
in real life. I forgot. His
in
mother.
real life. I forgot.
She's
His
fucking
mother
hot.
is in it. She's fucking hot as too.
There.
Damn.
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah, he's there.
Yeah, he's got balls.
Yeah, he's got
White
balls.
guy.
The white
Right
guy,
there, he's got balls.
right there, he's got balls.
There, he's got balls.
Yeah, he's got the owners.
I just see a lot of.
I just see a lot of
Coming out
paintballs
again. See,
coming out.
They're
again.
shooting
See,
paintballs.
They're
earlier.
shooting
It's gonna happen
paintballs
again.
earlier. It's gonna happen again.
I would like to see if there is.
I would like to see if there is any other aerial shots as well, but
Because there is another area where
there is another area where
the routes converge.
the routes converged as well.
Just
waiting to see.
Waiting
Waiting for it to happen, because I'm dead sure it is. More paintballs, more shooting paintballs and everything.
All
The thing is, do they have enough of a supply of paintballs or what? That's a big question. What if there's an aerial shot? I want to see it there. Hold on, let me see here.
A little bit earlier this afternoon, this is the confrontation that I was mentioning with some folks and federal agents clashing a bit.
This is what
I want.
There was pepper spray that was being used, some non-lethal weapons as well to kind of disperse the crowd. That all died down within a matter of minutes. So right now we're not seeing any of that happening. Again, the right side of your screen, that is not our live picture. That happened within the last half hour or so, but you can see flashbangs, pepper spray, non-lethal weapons to disperse that crowd.
Yeah, I'd do that.
The left side of your screen is what we're seeing at this point in time.
Now it's right there.
Right now, it looks like the perimeter is holding, and no one is getting violent on either side of this issue. But we are still seeing some remnants on the ground there from some confrontations over the last few days. Again, this is the third day that we're seeing protesters out here with signs and protesting outside the federal building here. We're watching to see if anything else develops on this afternoon, but the right side of your screen, you can see it got a little heated as they used smoke bombs there, some media on the ground.
Sheriff's
helicopter. Yeah.
I'd say there are about 300 people or so that have come out to protest in front of the building. And again, so far, no violent encounters, no major violent encounters so far this afternoon, just a few scuffles. No arrests made so far, according to our reports. I mean, Saturday night's protest outside the federal building, there were 11 arrests made, and those were primarily for failure to disperse once the order was given for an unlawful demonstration. Right now we are also patching in Bruce Thomas. He's one of our experts here to weigh in. Bruce, what do you make of what you're seeing here at this scene in front of the federal building?
Yes, what do you think?
Well, you know, if we can just back up for a few, and I don't know if it's been covered, but the National Guard typically is called out by the lead law enforcement agency for the County of Los Angeles. That would be the County Sheriff's Department. Sheriff Luna would make the request to the governor. The governor would approve the request.
Fucking Joe, LA Sheriff's Department.
And what the president has done, he's kind of circumvented, I believe it's Title 10, which is the chain of command. So there are some issues with that. The other thing, too, I know the Secretary of Defense, he wants to bring in the Marine Corps. Well, you can't have American troops on American soil in the Insurrection Act. So I'm just kind of bringing up our viewers to see what's going on and what the chain has kind of been broken a little bit.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear your input and insight on all of this, because it really paints the picture for how different this situation
held hostage. I mean, Executive branch has power. They have the authority to do it.
The Secretary of Homeland Security, So it's good to see that. But what do you make of the scene right now? I mean, earlier we saw a bit of a scuffle, some confrontation with folks, but now it's calmed down.
Yes,
in
we
the past
just
few minutes.
Yeah, with the National Guard, if they are on federal property and having done a lot of protests in West LA, you have to be invited on the property under a mutual aid agreement. You just cannot just station yourself on federal property. They have the Federal Protective Police, Homeland Security, and I'm assuming ICE also to do that. But, the other thing, too, is everybody has a First Amendment right to protest. When you start throwing
But
stuff...
this doesn't cover
First
then it
Amendment.
gets a
None of
little
the
out of
stuff
control,
does.
and then the First Amendment right kind of takes a back seat to how dangerous the situation
Closing
is.
down roads and everything, they're being violent.
So
It's not First Amendment. So.
Thank you for your continued coverage here. I wonder if we can just take a look at this wide shot as we look at the Roybal Detention Center in downtown Los Angeles. This is now day 3 of unrest in downtown LA. In response to ICE raids and Department of Homeland Security movements, we saw problems in Paramount, we saw problems in Compton.
I used to try to spin this and say they don't have
Things have been
authority,
tense. There
they
are
do.
crowds
They're
gathering.
out.
They're
There was
out
another
lawyers and
demonstration
people
at
that
2
are
o'clock
just spinning
today
that
at LA
way.
City Hall, not too far from this location. And of course, things different now because the National Guard has been deployed here, federalized by President Trump. It is something that Governor Newsom did not disagree with when he revealed that Trump and his administration were taking over 2,000 soldiers from the National Guard. He said this was the wrong mission. This is the wrong move. It's just going to escalate tensions. And we also heard from LA Mayor Karen Bass, who said she was
Of course not. I mean, Newsom gets off on this. I mean, he wants this ambassador. They're the cause of this. That was criminals on the street and everything. Just run amok and totally destroy everything.
And they want
votes. They want the votes and everything. And get all stuff for free and everything. They'll lose all the benefits to the illegals. And these people that are here are just rats. They want these criminals out on the streets. Raping women and children and sex trafficking and human trafficking and all sort of stuff. This is what these people want. They want all these criminals, thugs there.
I got
no respect for them.
They're pieces
of shit.
So these people have taken over or are just standing in the street in downtown Los Angeles. Are these people breaking a law right now by being here?
Yes, they are.
If they're not being told to disperse, or if they're being told to disperse, what's the line here? Whether these folks we see in the roadway
they're not technically doing it, they're told
Yeah,
to
I mean,
disperse.
are they breaking the law? Yeah. It's a pedestrian hazard
Yeah.
in the roadway.
I
It's
knew
a
I knew
citation.
that.
So, and typically,
They are, but
we
They are,
are
but they're not being
allowed-
told to disperse
with
yet.
protesters,
So
we've actually met with them and
That is
said,
breaking
that is breaking the law.
I want
It
to
is.
go to the intersection. All right, great. We're going to facilitate that for you to get your point across to make sure it's all safe. So in essence, are they breaking the law, the spirit of the law, the letter of the law? Yes. But in reality, are you going to go in and clear them out? Not yet.
Right. As someone with such a deep background in law enforcement, I've been curious these last 48, 72 hours, that point in which the call goes to clear out a section. So if this
I know
the law very well on
National
this
Guard
stuff,
or
but
officers wanted to move in and say clear this roadway.
of course, laws have
What is
changed
something
a
from a
bit.
law enforcement perspective? Because from the outside, that's the moment where things kind of turn very dangerous, where the crowd begins to scatter. You have a large number of people gathered here. And if the order goes out to break up this crowd, it's going to cause a panic and it's going to cause some problems. So where is the line that the officers draw here on where they want to maintain kind of a peaceful situation, even if, as you said,
A lot of people want to start trouble. They want to
don't
start
want to
trouble.
cause a panic and don't want to send people running in a large crowd, especially with traffic still going by, in what could turn into an incredibly dangerous situation.
Yeah, it's a multi-layered event. First thing you have to do is secure the area from vehicular traffic. Cars driving in and out is a problem for everybody. Once that's done, you set up the areas you want to close off, and you have to give everybody an escape route. This is the way we want you to go. So, at that point, does it become a problem? Is it a nuisance for everybody? Is there vandalism being committed? Is there robberies and thefts going on in local merchants? And then you say, you know what, okay, enough's enough. We gave you your First Amendment rights, and now we're done.
We can see some graffiti on the federal building there. We see, I believe these are both live pictures, one from Air 7 and the other one from the ground. And we do obviously apologize for any profanity that we're seeing on a lot of these signs. Right now we are streaming online, and so that is just kind of comes with the territory when we're giving you the true picture of what's happening here on the ground. But at this point, things seem to have calmed down from where they were. From what we could tell, it seemed like someone from the back of this crowd may have thrown a projectile, and then they fire tear gas, and that winds up affecting those in the front of the crowd who may not have had anything to do with anything being thrown. So I don't know what order has been given out here. How much, Bruce, in a situation like this, how much restraint is advised for these guards members and the police?
Kidnappers, what the fuck?
You could have one agitator.
That's what
all the illegals did, taking kids that weren't even theirs.
A peaceful demonstration.
Correct, and
that's what all the illegals do. That's not even being reported on the news. They've kidnapped kids, they've taken kids of their own, and sex, slavery, and other stuff.
Spirit by the feds to just fire paintball rounds at them, fire rubber bullets at people. You have to have some sort of threat to do that. I mean, are there agitators in the crowd? Actually, there are, and it's a shame for them to ruin something which is a First Amendment right.
Do you have a lot of experience with the National Guard? What kind of soldiers are we talking about here? I'm sure it ranges, it varies pretty greatly in age, but how about a lack of experience? Is that something that could be a concern with some of these soldiers who are out there as compared to some LAPD officers who we've seen handle the situation last night?
Yeah, most of the National Guard, like LAPD and LASO, they are required to go through multiple hours of riot control training. That means how to move a crowd.
Ever since the Riots 92,
The experience is there. How long they've been in the Guard, that's another question. But they do receive many hours of training throughout the year in civil unrest, because that is the National Guard's primary duty.
Yeah, tension levels must be pretty high, even when things are calm like this. You see every once in a while a demonstrator will approach the line, just kind of provoking and doing whatever they can to get a rise out of that line of soldiers and officers in tactical gear. This seems like a tough spot for anyone to be in. It's not an enviable situation to be in, no matter what side you're on, no matter who you're advocating for, to face a crowd like this. And when you're advocating for peace, and you just want things to calm down, it's a tough spot to be in as a human.
Yeah, unfortunately, you've got people like that, like you just mentioned, who kind of poke the bear. They're trying to get a reaction. And once that reaction goes, sometimes you can control it, sometimes you can't. And that's why in any skirmish line,
most of those people are not advocates of peace anyway. They want criminals running the streets. They want these gang members taking over apartment buildings and hotels and everything, getting rent and everything for free. And they want human sex trafficking and all sorts of stuff. There's nothing peaceful about
we hope we don't have to see any of that put into play here.
That want that. There's nothing peaceful about them.
I think we'll wind up checking in with you throughout the afternoon, but thank you for your help in assisting us in our coverage of what's going on in downtown. Okay. Are we going to wrap this up? Okay. We want to thank you for joining us for this streaming coverage of the unrest that continues.
I know they all like that. I know they're not
Again,
all
we are
like that. I
expecting
know
another
that.
rally to be held at 2 o'clock at City Hall.
They,
We will see if that
want them
converges with this
left alone. They
demonstration
want those criminals left alone.
They're
They're murdering
a couple
other
blocks
people.
away, and it has been the site of
Blackmailing, storing
money.
money
Friday
off
night
them.
it began. It was all day tomorrow in
Gang
Greenhouse,
members.
Compton, and again back here at Royal.
The cartel
Again
members.
today. We are live on the air at 3:30 this afternoon for Eyewitness News, but if we have to break in, if anything else happens, we will bring it to you live on our stream, abc7.com, ABC7 Los Angeles app, and on social media as well. We want to thank you for joining us, and remember, you can get your news anytime, 24 hours a day on our website, our app, or social media.
I can't even hardly hear these guys, but
I should
I should get me a treat.
My mouth
gets dry very easily. Very easily. That's it for them, I guess. They had to get fuel. That's what he's trying to do. I see if NBC's back on a helicopter. I really want those aerial shots. Let's see here. I think it's all the same shots. I think it is. Go fuck yourself. Those kids are not always their kids. I should be. Yeah. Is this? Let me see here. Yeah, here it is. There it is. Immigration rioters underway. That's what it should be. But because I do see that happening. I do see that. It was already happening. So let's see.
There's Bozo.
There's Bozo.
There's Bozo.
There's Bozo. On the run from the Bill Institution. There he is, right there. I saw him earlier. Showing us all he's got. They're putting on gas there. That's the helicopter's video's going out, by the way, not mine. What do you do with that? What do you do with that? What is that? It's a movement there. It's like some more reinforcements or something, yeah. Ha ha ha! Bitch. Just make them all scattered. Some rats. These rats here.
You
got no business being on that stupid ass thing of yours. I saw some people in wheelchairs, motorized wheelchairs getting into this. You ain't got no fucking business doing that, bro. You know that. You got no business. You know what's happening. You know you ain't supposed to be there. Where'd they go? Because that's like scattered, thinned out a bit over there. There's had like hangout right there. I saw some people barbecuing this stuff. Graffiti, doing illegal graffiti and shit. Hell, I'd love to barbecue. got some tactical armored vehicles there. I guess those vehicles are specially designed for them to make more arrests with and everything. So, would they have water turrets on them? I don't know. That's what they want to do with them. Water hoses. Why are they allowing that vehicle to be there? That could be a dangerous weapon. That's a deadly weapon. What the hell just happened? Why are they scouting back? They run out of rounds or what? They need some more ammo or what? Why they scattered back? They run out. Those paintballs, those gas pellets. They just scale that fence. I see them just keeping on doing this BS. They don't have a life or anything. They have no jobs, no life, I mean, their families don't even give a shit about them either. They tell them just to get the fuck out of the house. And you got these losers out here doing all this. Yeah. I pointed that out earlier at the beginning. Are they providing intelligence to these guys or what? Doesn't look like they're exactly news. Guys just fucking trash. You have no fucking business being there, you idiot. Oh my god, man. These people are fucking metals, dude. They have no business being there. They had in that position like that. No business. saw this earlier. Immigration rioting underway. It's like they reloaded. Looks like they got some ammo. There. Some tear gas stuff. There's something wrong with tear gas stuff. Yes. What a dumb idiot. I'll make myself something to eat. Somebody. These people are paid nothing but trouble. Fucking raps. That's all they're doing is creating fucking trouble.
As a mandate, immigration was at the centre of his election campaign, but it is very clear that that tension you speak about, that was there long before these protests, is beginning to show in terms of that relationship between states like California and the White House. And there is no doubt that Democratic politicians like the California Governor Gavin Newsom believes that the National Guard are now being used as political pawns in all of this, purely for political ends.
One idiot. I just can't film that. They should be ashamed of themselves. What dumbass. Oh my god. Yeah, they just got people up there. Like, how the fuck are they getting up there? They should be able to. Law enforcement ain't gonna do shit. They're a real threat, really. Those people up there on the roof are definitely a threat. Really a threat right there. That was a problem. Paintball her. Paintball the bitch. Right. What is this one? Hold on, I need to blow my nose so you take something real quick. I'll be right back. So you take it on later too. Hold on. What's this? I got some. Right. This is the best shot still. Going around from the back, right here. Where'd they go? I see some.
Where are they
Where are they going?
Where are they
Where are they going? Those rats. Look, he can fly. There's one with that. Somebody shoot that guy off the motorcycle there. It's like they're trying to pin him in and get him out right here. Corral him and then get him out, flush him out. It's like you got these people right here I don't like. Right back, I really want to get this. I really do. finally got one. They got one. They got a degenerate. Oh yeah. Gotta get forceful with them. Gotta get forceful with them. With those rats. Gotta get forceful with those rats. Take a leak real quick. Oh my god, gotta get forceful with those rats. Right. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. They're telling them to disperse. They're not, because they're rats, cockroaches and everything. Larry's so-called press people either. They're idiots too. Lobby press people, I should say.
I mean,
the stupid nosy LAPD is nosing their ass in here because they just want to arrest them and let them go. They don't want to give them serious charges.
So they're
battling in this stuff. I have audio on. I should have the audio on. It's just nothing to be said. Look at what they're doing right there.
Got
wannabe press people. Wish they were press people. Actors, a lot of them just fucking actors. Yeah. Some movement going on over here to the left. Of course, the news side is asking how that way, so. They're just letting them congregate right here. They should be, yeah.
Push him
out. Push him out. Gotta get forceful with them to get respect and stuff. Otherwise, you're just gonna see his claps, and that's it. They learned how to create lines better. They got people right here. I mean, from military standpoint, this is trash. They need to have a control line right here. They should have this all blocked off. I mean, they can get in and around this. They do not know anything about military security and keeping maintaining order borders. They don't. Because they could just go right in through here, right through there. Surround them. They could just surround them, which they could do. From a military standpoint, these guys are just idiots. Who in the hell did this? Who in the hell did this? They're just surrounded by the enemy. They are fucking surrounded. They should know better. They could just destroy these vehicles, these people. They are fucking surrounded right there. They got LAPD going off that way. But they got these people. They got LAPD surrounded some more right here. They could. I mean, they got officers there, but that's bad. That is, from the military standpoint, that is your worst nightmare, because they could just, they actually kill them off just like that. They come over, attack them and take them down. They could. Can you get these guys out, flush them out? Dude, flush these guys out. All of them out. Right there, because they're surrounded. They are fully surrounded. This is stupid LAPD. How incompetent they are. Total incompetence. Total incompetence when they're surrounded. They are totally surrounded. Look at that. Look at that right there. Incompetence by the LAPD. They do not know anything about military. Where is this? Since that's also where my audio is looking at. It was just really. I want to go back here. And like I said, they are surrounded. They are surrounded right here. Totally surrounded. The incompetence of the LAPD. This is total incompetence. Right here, where they could just take them over. And they got this right here. Some other no-lifers. Some other rats. Going for the infestation. Again, this site, a couple of these sites do not have audio, so it's not me. Look at, see that? They have all these other people, these idiots at LAPD. I said that. Total incompetence by the LAPD when they could get swarmed and taken over. From a military standpoint, total incompetence. They should have seen that. Where they could be encircled and taken over. And they are encircled. Just total incompetence. Look at that. They need LAPD needs some people, tacticians in warfare. They need real tacticians. Someone like me they need, honestly. These rats. They are totally surrounded. Look at that. Look at that. Run them over. Run them over. Shoot them. Now they should just shoot them. They do that, they should shoot them. They should shoot them. They're letting them get away with murder. What the fuck? They're letting them get away with fucking murder. incompetence by the LAPD. This is total incompetence. Negligence. Why the fuck the LAPD allow this? Who in the leadership in command is allowing this bullshit to happen? Criminals running the street. Criminals wanting other criminals to run the streets. All this is totally illegal, what's happening. You have various assorted of felonies taking place. Throwing objects on these police vehicles. Attacking their cars, vandalizing their cars. Totally illegal. Damn. I said that. They're from all these different sides. They're taking over the LAPD. Incompetence, negligence. And they should be backing up their own officers. They're supposed to be overwhelming them with force. Not their way around. This is not how you have so-called law and order or whatever. I don't know. This is just. Look at this. It's pathetic. Totally fucking pathetic. They have criminals are totally taken over the streets. And you have these stupid wannabe reporters, so-called reporters there. Say, I'm a reporter. They're not a reporter. Some are instigators as well. Some are on YouTube. Could be instigators as well. So you're just reporting stuff like that. So now they're moving. This is not a protest. Not a protest. These are rioters and anarchists. Criminals, thugs. That should be treated as such. We have an old geezer, stupid white geezer there. This is sheer anarchy. Total anarchy. This is what happens when you have millions of illegals just in LA. We have millions of illegals just in LA. When they're getting stuff cut off, resources cut off, they go to the streets and they create anarchy and crime. This is sheer insanity. It's not society, this is anarchy. These are politicians. And like I said, there are plenty of Republicans I don't like. On both sides. No. That this is our Degenerates. Degenerates that are in charge that have enabled this criminals to take over. They have illegals flood in to places like LA County. This is just insanity. I said that Trump is going to need at least 5,000. 5,000 troops, not 2,000. Now I say 15,000. And Pete Heck says that he's ready to deploy Marines and stuff. And you have Department of Defense. You got these rats, these cockroaches, just you got these cockroaches just taking over the streets. These are all these people want sex traffickers, human traffickers, rapists, murderers, cartel, gang members, different gangs. They want these criminals here. And some of them are. Well, there's a lot of criminals in these crowds. So attacking LAPD and stuff like that. And they're not going to respect law enforcement. These people ain't going to respect it unless you use force on them. They don't. I mean, the law of the streets are you have to gain respect. That's the law of the streets. You gain respect. You have to fight for it. It is a given. If you're not willing to fight back, you don't get respect. That's the streets. We're all looking for other areas where they could be too. Yeah, they took over. And Mayor Bass and Newscomb, Bass basket case. This is what they wanted. This is what they've allowed to happen with illegals. They allow them to take over, holding everyone else hostage. Everyone else is a hostage. They want the criminals to roam free. It's criminals' rights first. Honestly, this motherfucker's belong in a trash can. All of them. Anybody that knows me knows that I attack Republicans and Democrats fairly. But the Degenerates, this is what's happened. They're obstructing Metro. What piece of shit do that? So people can't get home. Because they think it's their streets, that they own the fucking streets, and they don't. I want things to go back to the old days in a lot of places. They just shoot these motherfuckers in a lot of places, but because this ain't peaceful or anything like that. They're just taking over streets. And he's on the mic right there. Where do we get a shot of? Let's see here. Here's another shot. Do they know what they are even doing? I don't think the LAPD, they have a clue for, I mean, it's just, this is just pathetic. This guy, I've seen this guy here all day. Let's see this. I want you to take a look at, hold on. We'll take a look at some other stuff here as well. they have the same. I spotted it. Yep. They need a big. They need ass kicking. They totally need ass kicking. They need ass kicking. Looks like it's about the same. Ha ha. Ha ha. Game on. That's a game on right there. Game on, bitches. Got another. Yeah. Game on. That's very poetic of this. They see the ass kicking, they do. Game on. Haha, whipped him apart. We got the Mexican flag, but they would be caught dead in Mexico. I mean, they don't get Social Security over there. They don't get free health care over in Mexico and stuff like that. They get none of the benefits in Mexico that they do here. I don't understand. If you like it so much, why don't you go over there?
The police had this whole street.
The police had this whole street. And then they encircled the LAPD, took them over because the LAPD lacked serial tactics, any military tactics or any real thought, really.
They had that.
They had that. Now the rats had taken over.
They don't have enough to stop these people.
They don't have enough to stop these people. The people know that. They see LAPD as a joke, which it really is. LAPD is a joke. And so is the sheriffs.
Just a bunch of clowns.
The LA Sheriff's Department. Just a bunch of clowns running law enforcement that don't even care.
Looks like they're off to get fuel.
Looks like they're off to get fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Gotta get fuel sometime.
Gotta get fuel sometime.
Be careful, look at the degenerates.
Be careful, look at the degenerates.
Like the cockroaches infesting our streets.
Like the cockroaches infesting our streets. Nobody's in. I don't like fucking doing shit. I don't see anybody watching, so.
Yes, Rico Kid.
Yes, Rico Kid. Let's see. It's really like California.
You're tuning in here on ABC 7. We're taking a live look at downtown Los Angeles where people have gathered.
That's old. What the fuck? Okay, so that was, you know. You're dispersed, they say.
No more cheese.
The rats need to disperse. No more cheese. Is that cheese for you?
I don't. It's just the camera and her bag, right? Hold on.
What an idiot. What an idiot. Oh my god, fixed up.
We're looking at Alameda and Omiso. You need to go south on Alameda.
Why are you wearing all that? Why are you wearing all that? Trying to have armor on there in case it gets sapped. It's like a rat. He looks like a rat. And he's trying to get in and do some stuff. He does. He looks like a mole. Well, you got yourself masked up, dude. All these people are using the same cameras here. Oh no, I just got you. What the fuck?
You just
You just went out? Went out for fuel or what?
They
didn't even say anything.
This is Eyewitness News with live breaking news.
North Alameda Street, East Temple Street, downtown. Items is a nice way of putting what they were. Something's happened here.
Yeah,
run them over. Fucking rats, they should have shoot them down. Why the fuck ain't they shooting them? They should have just shot him for that. Yeah. Give him a beating, dude. What the fuck? What the fuck are they doing allowing these shitheads to do this? These fucking rats.
Trying to get this crowd to move back, get them.
It's a massive sea of criminals. Should be given felony counts. Oh my God, you see me hands up. Those things ain't doing nothing to them. People just laughing their asses off with them. They're just laughing their fucking asses off. There's a fucking joke. Because they are a joke. Our law enforcement, the LAPD, and Sheriff's Department is just a fucking joke. You got this dumbass where you're telling, don't do anything, don't do anything. It's like, Jesus, man. You're outnumbered. There it is. Just run him over. Run him over. Seriously, run him over. Run him down, dude.
Run those
bitches down.
More
protests planned tonight. see out of it. Fucking rats are just everywhere.
Here in downtown Los Angeles, and so now they're making their way on some. Go ahead, Bruce.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jory. I was just gonna interject. You know, you've declared a
Oh,
city
shut
like
up!
that.
Somebody hit that white guy.
There's only so many officers that are on duty. They have stripped all stations, and they're not handling any routine calls. Priority calls only.
They want to fight. They want to fight. This is so soon. What is that? Come on. Rats help each other. Don't just help each other yet.
Kennedy did, I'm sorry, John F. Kennedy did, with the civil rights when they were trying to integrate black students into white schools, and the states were saying no, and he said, okay, fine, I'll have the National Guard escort them. So we haven't seen anything like this, and now to have the governor of California say, you know what, I want my troops back, I want my control, even though they've been federalized, is a huge quagmire.
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. I know that the governor had he has been busy on social media
Governor's
today,
a piece of shit.
responding to the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. He also tweeted to the citizens of California, said, "Don't give Donald Trump what he wants. Speak up, stay peaceful, stay calm. Do not use violence, and respect the law enforcement officers that are trying their best to keep the peace." So we have some activity here live on the left from Air 7, officers moving in, and anytime you see people scattering in a large crowd at this speed, it can be...
It's illegal to hold those streets hostage. Is illegal to hold the streets. It is totally illegal. What a retard you are. Low life. Degenerate. No one's even looking at you, dude. Nobody is, dude. Nobody cares that much. You're just out there to grab attention, dude. He's telling you better be careful, but he also like laughed at him a bit, but anyways. Blocking roads and freeways is illegal.
Since shut down Alameda, that is where all those cars, those police cars, are parked outside the entrance to the federal building. Here we are at the 101 freeway. It's actually the opposite side of where that large group at Temple and Alameda had been cordoned off, and they may have made their way back around up the other side of Roybal and made their way here to the 101 freeway. Again, this is not a new thing for Los Angeles. Pretty much anytime we see a large demonstration in downtown LA,
they illegally take over freeways and roads because they're pieces of shit.
I believe maybe, like things like
they're total fucking trash. That's why they do it.
But these large
ladies do it just to piss people off.
Down the on-ramp here, and
I have no sympathy for people that do that.
There's not a whole lot they can do. They
totally
are outnumbered.
criminal
They don't want to
behavior.
start a riot when they're
Because people can't get home to their family,
just kind of watching
they
and
can't
letting
get
this play
food,
out.
they can't get medicine.
Yeah, that's all you can
Just
do.
real
You can
pieces
hold
of
the
shit
finish
do
line,
that.
protect the
I have
area,
no
the
respect for
geographic-
it. Just take it out of freeway. Rotate. I just want to kill and run him over. I just want to run him over. That's what I want to do. Fuck, I'd be pissed. And the stupid LAPD is allowing it. Stupid LAPD. Stupid incompetent LAPD is allowing it. They're to take over freeways and stuff like that. They're lucky I'm not behind the wheel. They're very lucky. I just about run them over, but. I mean, I have no sympathy, no empathy for people. I mean, we've got criminals just totally taking over the streets and freeways.
Large crowd. You can see the overpass of the 101 is lined with people watching. The roadway, the northbound side, is now shut down as well. Demonstrators hopped the barrier and have now breached the northbound side, which is left passage through downtown Los Angeles in both directions impassable. The 101 is now shut down. We can see Matt Gutman reporting there on the right side. Here's another ground level camera, and you see that cameraman. Same with our cameraman.
They're not doing that much.
Camera operators, they are in the thick of things to bring us these shots. This is not an easy job. And we thank them for putting themselves in this situation because it is not easy. The gas-filled air that the demonstrators are breathing, they are breathing as well. That photographer is now...
It's not doing enough. It's not doing much whatsoever.
Too close. And they got that person out of there. But again, this line is being held outside the detention facility. This line now on the freeway has now stopped traffic in both directions on the 101. Bottles and other projectiles are continuing to be thrown at these officers, and they continue to send non-lethal rounds into this crowd to try and break it up, back it up, and calm things down. That is not happening at this hour. We will see how this plays out again. Day 3 of demonstration and unrest in downtown Los Angeles. This is the 3rd day we've seen it happen at the Royal Detention Facility, the federal building in downtown LA. Yesterday we saw unrest in the cities of Paramount and Compton. That began outside of Home Depot and a DHS facility where a crowd had gathered protesting actions of DHS and the Trump administration. That bled over across the river, across the 710 freeway into Compton, where a car was lit on fire, windows were broken out. Law enforcement and fire officials were under assault from thrown projectiles as well, and that finally was broken up throughout the night. But it was not an easy task, and it was a long and violent night in certain situations. Here come 2 LAPD, I believe, cruisers down the ramp. 3 cruisers now down the ramp, and we will see their reception. It is not going to be pleasant. Projectiles being thrown at their vehicles as they pass. Are they getting onto the freeway? Let's see if we can see from Air 7. Can we pick up those 3 cruisers that just made their way onto the freeway? Which side did that happen on? I believe it was coming down that ramp right there. They would be to the left. They should be towards the left onto the road surface. Do we see on the other side of this overpass? Maybe they're underneath. I'm not sure where they have gone, but at some point,
this way happens. We have rats coming into our country and taking over the place.
A difficult task to do that.
Yeah, millions of illegals just taking over.
I'm not sure if those are a little larger, but Bruce, how do you regain control of the 101 freeway after a scene like this is playing out?
Well, Jory, you got a huge problem. Those were 3 CHV cruisers that were at the top of the ramp. But you've got hundreds of vehicles that are just stuck there. So to get resources to the problem is going to be a whole nother matter. You're going to see CHP mustering
just run them
miles
over.
And miles away.
Seriously, just run them over.
They're going to have to come down the wrong side of the freeway, and they're going to have to take control of this. But it's going to take hundreds of officers, and that takes time. And meanwhile, you've got the freeway shut down, at least in the south end, and probably the north end.
And here we go. We see some officers on foot now making their way through the cars that have been backed up.
And you got them on the overpass.
So it's just gonna. I thought for a moment they might have been clapping at the officers moving in to clear this up, but it is they are. I think they might be clapping with the demonstrators. And was that bottle just thrown from the car? Okay. So I think the northbound side is back open again. Cars seem to be moving.
Got these trash up here.
Off like that. But the 101 north is open, at least a lane or two. The southbound side is completely shut down, and we'll see once those officers on foot reach the front of these cars, and now they are allowing cars to go through single file here. Is that an officer directing traffic, or is that a demonstrator? That just. I think that might just be a demonstrator who are now trying to get these cars out of there. I think they want to free people up and just take over the entire freeway, maybe on foot, and clear out these cars. That's an interesting one. Bruce, I've never seen that before.
I have not seen that before, too, but I'm sure there are leaders in the group who don't want to inconvenience motorists, and they're like, hey, at least open up one lane, let's get these cars out of here, and then we can shut down the freeway.
Yeah, oftentimes the point of this is civil unrest, to block the everyday execution of life in a city like this. That doesn't seem to be the case. It looks like they are going to allow these cars to clear out, and police are now going to stop those cars. They probably want some space to deal with here, Bruce, I'm guessing, just to let the cars in front of them move out and then give them some free space to move in on these demonstrators?
Yeah, they're formulating a plan on what to do. If they can keep one lane, at least 2 lanes open, push the demonstrators off to the side, it's a win-win for everybody. They get their civil unrest notifications, LAPD gets the freeway open, as CHV does, and the motorists are moving on their way.
Yeah, and once again, we feel sorry for that front line, those last cars who thought they were going to make it out of here, and now once again have to stop. I think if we can pan over to the left, are these cars that are backed up? They're all making their way out of there. Yeah, okay, so they're siphoning down to a single, nope, they've been stopped once again. So whoever's idea it was to let them through has been overruled, it looks like, and now they are being stopped by more demonstrators who are not allowing these cars to get through and out of there. And now there is a discussion between the demonstrators, and they are once again being allowed to move through and out. So
just run the bitch over. Just run these fuckers over.
It's never a single mindset in a crowd like this, but these folks are being allowed to move out and off of the 101 freeway, get out of this little logjam. That is not everybody who is stuck. That is just the front, maybe 20 or 30 cars
holding people hostage. That's really good.
Some of them are not. Looks like some decision making to go in the crowd there. We will see how this plays out.
They have to listen to our
officers just behind these cars who are going to, I think, wait until the cars that are being allowed to clear the way off the freeway, and then we will see how they get these demonstrators off the surface of the 101 freeway, because they have now shut down traffic for some time now, and those officers now headed the other way. Curious to see what the plan is going to be, Bruce. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you know, Jory, one of the things that always is mind-boggling to me is with the advent of social media, I'm hoping they're putting out things, stay away from the Hollywood freeway, stay away from Alameda, stay away from downtown L.A. I would hope this is happening, but yet we see hundreds of cars driving down the street.
Yeah. Hopefully traffic apps can help people.
Well, the LAPD isn't supposed to be allowing this shit to happen.
You can avoid downtown surface streets and the freeway. Avoid it if you can, because it is
LAPD is the sheriffs.
It's going to take some time. Back at the Roybal, this is the intersection of Temple and Alameda.
Those are politicians
to be in the midst of this.
That have allowed this to happen.
See that bike? I think there were 2 motorcycles down on the line. That one remains down on the ground. I think they tried to drag one away. I did not see how these vehicles made their way into this position, but that is a motorcycle. Bruce, I don't think that's a law enforcement motorcycle, right? That's not CHP.
It was somebody's personal bike. Yeah. And they took the driver into custody and the bike was left there.
Right. So now we see Alameda is blocked off if you're coming towards the view of this camera. Temple is blocked off to the left. And then if you travel up, Alameda is where the view from Air 7 is now looking, the overpass of the 101 freeway. I don't see those officers on foot on the freeway as of right now, but it looks like traffic is still being held up. So the last few cars, the last few vehicles who were stuck in that little group are now making their way through, and we will see what happens. We do want to bring into this discussion Gabe Santos, who is in Air 7 overhead. We now have 2 eyes in the sky on either side of your screen here, looking at 2 different locations. One at the 101 freeway, one back at the Federal Building. Gabe, what are you seeing right now?
Well, Dre, we're just getting overhead back on the freeway side, and I've been watching the pictures from our second Air 7 along with you guys, but also monitoring the radio traffic from LAPD and CHP. We have quite a multi-pronged situation here. You have the skirmish line near the Federal Building that LAPD has been working, and you have the situation on the freeway, which now CHP is getting involved in, and CHP is helping out with, because you have this crowd on the freeway, on the, I believe those are the southbound,
pieces of shit.
The northbound, southbound lanes of the 101, and you have this large crowd now on the freeway. In total, LAPD is saying that at least the immediate size of the crowd here is about 3,000 people. So you have that situation. And if Rob widens out the shot and goes to Alameda and Temple, a little further down, that's where our other news Air 7 was looking at, where we saw those motorcycles. We heard reports earlier that someone, not law enforcement, actually drove that motorcycle that we saw on the ground and a second motorcycle into the skirmish line. There are reports of officers that were injured in that. We did hear that those officers are in stable condition, have been stabilized, and they are being stabilized by EMTs at the scene here. So that's that situation that LAPD is working on, and then you have this situation that keeps kind of ebbing and flowing here with CHP figuring out what to do with these protesters now on the southbound lanes on the freeway. You have a couple of cars that were able to go through, and we'll see what happens from this point on, because there was that group of law enforcement that made their way onto the freeway, and a lot of protesters cleared out when they saw that first flow of CHP officers come through and approach them, and then we've kind of lost sight of them. I'm not sure if they're under the bridge or if they had...
It was totally illegal, totally illegal.
7HD and actually look for where that crowd of that initial first push of CHP officers went to see where they have ended up now or if they've actually retreated. So we're going to look for them, and we're going to monitor what happens here now that this protest has made its way onto the 101 freeway near Alameda.
Yeah, I saw those officers clearing the motorcycles. I wonder if we can go back and check our tapes to see if we got the incident itself of how those bikes made their way into that situation, because again, as Gabe just said, there are reports that officers
one guy's turning around,
driving those motorcycles into the skirmish lines with those LAPD law enforcement officers, and so we'll wait and work to see if we have that. Again, this is all playing out as there is a battle brewing between the state governor of California and the president of the United States. Last night, President Trump federalized 2,000 members of the California National Guard. Today, the governor sent official notice that he wants to regain control of those soldiers. So there is now a direct confrontation between the state and the federal government. That, I think, is rather unusual. I'm not sure something like that has ever played out, although our history is deep here in America, and it certainly could have happened. We referenced the civil rights era.
He should be executed for treason. These people need to be executed for treason.
And others who were not
I
following
mean, what the
law,
fuck?
but I don't know if it's played out exactly in the way that we have seen here at the.
This is fucking treason right here.
We will see what happens.
Criminals are running the fucking freeway in the fucking
You're watching
streets.
Eyewitness News here on ABC.
What the fuck are these fucking rats doing? These pieces of shit.
Downtown Los Angeles.
These cockroaches just ruining everything.
Unrest in downtown LA. This is day number 3 of civil unrest, protest, demonstration, and confrontation between those demonstrators and
people of power, they need to be executed
local
for
law
this shit.
enforcement who have taken to
For
the streets
treason and
in
stuff
direct
like that.
opposition
They
to
do.
ICE raids and the
By
handling
firing
of immigrants
squad.
by the
They should be
Trump
shot dead by
administration.
firing squad.
We are going to stay with you on air here for the time being to see how this plays out, but demonstrators are now on the 101 freeway. That's the shot from Air 7. On the left side of your screen is the southbound side of the 101, taken over by demonstrators on the road surface. The right side is the 101 northbound, excuse me, which is once again flowing. It had been shut down
people
this
hostage.
afternoon, but the northbound side is moving again. It looks like at the top there might be some cars who are working
They have an actual hostage crisis.
sideways on the 101 a little further. This is an overpass overlooking all of this where a large crowd has gathered. There have been several focal points today, one outside the federal building where we have seen confrontation and unrest for the last 2 days here in LA.
I need to see something. I need to see what's going on here.
There was confrontation yet again today, this time for the first time with National Guard soldiers guarding the entrance to the facility, at one point with riot shields in place, pushing that crowd back. LAPD officers were called in, and they have now cleared that section of Alameda from the opening, the entrance to the detention facility. A large crowd has been cordoned off to the intersection of Temple and Alameda. This is another large crowd that is on the overpass.
Somebody slammed the door and backseat of water is bitch
as they
face.
see demonstrators down on the road surface below. Things have been tense. We saw large demonstrations.
You got these stupid ass politicians that don't give a shit about
And
anything.
again last night at the detention facility,
Backseat water
so
is
things were a
just
bit calmer for a time period. On the right, we see more people making their way down the on-ramp and onto the surface of the 101 freeway. We've been waiting to see how the LAPD, how the CHP plans to handle this situation. As of right now,
Let's see.
it looks like the demonstrators pretty much have free reign on the southbound side, being left unchecked and gathering. Their numbers now growing on the surface, and we see a large crowd up above and around watching what happens. This is not a first.
Secretary of Defense is out there to deploy active duty Marines.
Frequently, when we see a large demonstration of this size and intensity, they often make their way onto the 101, and it has happened yet again.
Let's see, Secretary of Defense is out there to deploy active duty Marines on
where another
local soil
demonstration
against
began at
citizens.
2 o'clock today. We saw
No,
people
Gavin Newsom,
gathered
you
in
piece of
Gloria
shit,
Molina
you're
Grand Park and street
deranged.
passing through there. They made their way down the street 2 blocks to the Federal Center, where they joined the other crowd demonstrating there. Our focal point, you can use that building under construction.
The LAPD is complicit
in Alameda here. The crowd has still
in this.
Maintained
they're not helping keeping criminals on the streets.
Now blocked off both Temple
the LAPD.
and Alameda.
They're not helping with it. They're
We'll
totally
see how this plays out. We
enabling
have cameras
this
on
criminal
overhead, as well
behavior.
as 2 in the air. There is the motorcycle in question. Gabe Santos, who is in Air 7, which we'll go back to in just momentarily, has said that he heard.
There's stuff I don't like about Trump. That there is.
Due to
But New Scum, I mean,
second, which has
a sexual predator that goes after children.
Might still be somewhere out there, Gabe. I'm not sure if you can have eyes on it. If that is the bike,
stuff like that.
There were 2
Doesn't have surgeries and stuff like that.
Yeah, Jory,
trying to indoctrinate children.
Bikes that we were just looking at that are on the ground, and we did hear from earlier reports from LAPD that those 2 bikes actually drove towards the skirmish line and then fell down, and those bikes, hit officers. Officers were trying to make careful use of my words here, but the LAPD radio traffic did allude to the fact that those officers were injured and they were treated at the scene by EMTs who are part of LAPD that were already here. So they were treated and they remain at the scene and they have been stabilized at this time. So we don't have an exact number exactly of how many officers were hit, but we do know
the Democrats are saying they'll go on with this.
From the outside,
go on
so
with
not
this
law
stuff.
enforcement motorcycles. These were, we can go out on a limb here and
go
say,
on the offense,
protester
even in
motorcycles
red
drove
states.
into the skirmish
You're asking
line
to
of
donate
LAPD,
$20 to help
caused
this
injury
piece
to
of
a
shit.
couple, at least,
Yeah, Newsom, that should
in
be
the
executed
Yeah, and
for
again,
treason.
I don't think this was, people have in their mind of someone driving a motorcycle into a crowd. I don't think that's what happened here. I think the motorcycle, again, we're looking for tape because we saw the aftermath of those motorcycles being dragged away from the scene, but I'm not sure if we have actual video of the incident itself. This was not, I believe, a high-speed movement with those motorcycles as we see those officers now moving in on the 101. We see some cruisers,
that means
highway patrol,
the other
officers
routes
tactical gear moving in,
are to be moving somewhere else,
of the freeway,
or else they could encircle the LAPD.
Make their way through
as they
and
did
exit
before.
the area. There are still some vehicles who are stuck now behind all of this as those officers now make their way through.
And they do have the high ground, the
A gathering
overpass.
point to figure out what their plan is. And cars are now traveling backwards, it looks like, up the 101 southbound, the wrong direction. This might just be someone tending to their child in the back seat. Yep. Getting back in their vehicle and trying to get out of there. Again, people who have no intention of being part of this situation being forced to deal with it because they are just simply driving down the 101 freeway and dragged into this situation. Again, you see someone with a small child in the back seat. This can be a really scary situation. You don't know how these are going to play out. I don't know if we have Bruce Thomas still on the line, but these can be very scary situations when you're talking about civilians stuck in these situations. That was a woman with a small child in the back seat, now stuck on the 101 with an angry group of demonstrators on the overpass and the surface itself, and law enforcement trying to regain control, Bruce.
Yeah, Jory, it creates a huge problem.
These thugs, these pieces of shit.
Some with kids, maybe.
This is an actual hostage situation. Keeping people hostage. Keeping Americans from getting to their families, to their loved ones. Can't get food, can't get medicine. These pieces of shit. I think they should all just be shot, in my opinion. I mean, trash. Pathetic. Criminals are just taking over everything. Criminals. It's just. This wouldn't have been allowed in the old days.
that have been taken over by demonstrators, some of them peaceful, some of them not peaceful. We have seen skirmish lines, we have seen projectiles, a lot of bottles.
There's nothing peaceful about this, you stupid idiot.
There's
nothing peaceful about it.
Were injured as well.
It's all illegal. All this is totally illegal.
And what happened to those who
you cannot take over streets and freeways. There's nothing peaceful about it, you stupid twat. Let's see. Is there anything I'm looking at? If there's anything else coming from News Scum here. Yes, this is an insurrection. It's definitely an insurrection. Looking here. If he is, I'm looking for. Let's see. I look at this. I mean,
fact that began moving those people back. Once a tactical alert was initiated in the city of Los Angeles, the LAPD moved in and wanted to get them away from the federal building, and that has now happened, but people still remain on the streets. Again, as we mentioned, this is all playing out with a battle going on between the federal government and now the state of California. Governor Newsom said last night that President Trump, against his wishes, federalized 2,000 members of the California National Guard. Well, he has now officially sent notice to the federal government that he wants to regain control of his soldiers from the National Guard. In fact, there is a group now of Democratic governors, 22 governors from the United States have now put out a statement, and I'll read it now if nothing else happens while we're waiting movement on the 101. It reads, President Trump's move to deploy California's National Guard is an alarming abuse of power. Governors are the commanders-in-chief of their National Guard.
No, they're
federal
not.
Government activating them in their own
No, they're not.
Consulting or working.
That's Civil War talk.
Is ineffective.
That is Civil War talk. I mean, Abbott tried that, and it's like it did. He only had a certain amount of leeway with his National Guard, but no, you can't have successionists like that. That is totally illegal, goes against the Constitution, against the executive powers, against the executive branch. I know these pieces of shit here on these news stations will try to spin it otherwise, but this is why we had, Civil War, we got rid of Southern governors, we got rid of all this stuff, because you cannot have two different sides like this. And only one person can control the military and the National Guard when it comes down to it. That's the president. It's the powers. Separation of powers. But yeah, they cannot have total control over the National Guard, or not National Guard, but the State Guard, or whatever. They can't. They don't. That is the president of the United States that has control.
The southbound 101. Also, a little side note here, we have a Black Hawk helicopter from the Department of Homeland Security also orbiting the area. We saw a similar helicopter, if not the same one, working the scene yesterday in Paramount. So that helicopter may be being brought in to bring in additional resources here. In any event, back on the freeway, you have a number of CHP resources pouring in, a lot of calls for help being made initially by LAPD. LAPD was initially requested to help with the freeway situation here as they saw the crowd move towards the freeway, and LAPD noted that they don't have anybody to spare. They've already asked all additional resources to report to the scene in front of the federal building where Alameda and Temple cross. And that's where we saw that situation with the motorcycles. We're still waiting a little more detail on what happened there, but the word, at least from officers on the ground, is that those motorcycles were driven into that skirmish line. As you mentioned, we don't know what speed. We don't know if they whether or not they plowed into the skirmish line or anything like that. It doesn't appear to be so.
They have the right to actually shoot to kill.
Were suffered by
because those are deadly
the skirmish line.
weapons.
They appeared to be mild, if not moderate, at most. They were treated at the scene, and they are what we've heard as in stable condition now, and we don't know a specific number of officers, but it does appear to be more than 2. So that's the situation there. Back on the freeway, you have a different department. So you have LAPD working the surface streets, and now CHP working the freeway now, and they're bringing in a lot of additional resources. As I mentioned, about 20 cars, 20 CHP cars already backed up behind the traffic that had initially been stuck here. You have some people being lucky enough to turn around and go the wrong way on the freeway and get off that way. But looking out the window of Air 7, I can see that the 101 South is shut down at the 110, and they're forcing everybody onto the interchange to get onto the 110, either in the north or the southbound lanes. You can see that CHP blockade there. They even have cones down now, which gives the indication that this is going to be a long-term closure, which I think,
I'm looking up some other
considering
stuff
everything
that's
we've
going
seen here
on.
today, that's probably safe to be assumed. And there you can see the number of CHP units that have kind of made camp there under the Main Street bridge here, and now you have that contingent of CHP units, CHP Special Enforcement units under the Los Angeles Street bridge, at least making themselves known to these protesters, probably making verbal commands out, giving the order to get off the freeway. And obviously you can see here by the static situation that we're starting to see.
One thing Trump said is that it was great American city, Los Angeles, has been invaded and occupied by illegal aliens and criminals. That is a fact. That's what these pieces of shit are. That's staining these streets and everything with their bodies right here. Attacking federal agents to try and stop deportation operations. This is from President Trump. I have directed Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, and Attorney General Pam Bondi, in coordination with all other relevant departments and agencies, to take all in these fucking eyelashes to necessary to liberate LA. Okay. To liberate liberate Los Angeles from migrant invasion and put an end to these migrant riots. They should be called illegal riots. Order will be restored. The illegals must be expelled, and Los Angeles must be set free. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I don't like either side, Republican or Democrat, that much, but I mean, Democrats have allowed this shit to happen, and it really pisses me off that they have allowed criminals to just take over different parts of different states. people on Twitter say, they moved away from this place because it's a shithole, and that's what it is now, and it shouldn't be. I was trying to look up different stuff, so. Let me see here if I can. See here. I just try to go with some stuff on Twitter. Here.
Officers from the LAPD pushing everybody back and using a tremendous amount of non-lethal force. You can see those flashbang canisters, the sponges, 40 millimeter like this, that they fired at people just to continue to push them back. I don't think I've seen this much use of non-lethal in a very long time. We've also seen significant number of rocks, bottles, projectiles that are very dangerous being hurled at the LAPD on this side of the skirmish line. Right now it's at stalemate, Jerry, but there is something I just want to show you is like that police skirmish line that you saw behind me started probably 400 yards back, almost at the 101. And I don't know if you can see, but the amount of debris and how far it goes back, all of what you're seeing was either thrown by protesters or fired by the LAPD. So a significant interaction here. And obviously, as you saw from the hundreds of protesters that are still here, it's probably not going to end anytime soon, Jerry.
Yeah, we watched that line be pushed back down Alameda and saw a near constant volley of those non-lethals at protesters. We watched all afternoon those federalized National Guardsmen and women guarding the entrance to the federal building. Are they still there? Can you tell if they're still on scene from your vantage point?
I believe they are.
I believe that they are. The last time when we got pushed back, they were here. I would be shocked if they left. So, it was federal law enforcement plus California National Guard. I would say a pretty fair mix. One of the things that surprised me, Jory, that I hadn't seen in a while was right front and center on the second story near the shrubbery was a sniper. It looked like a federal law enforcement officer, but a sniper was right there. So far, I mean, at that point, it seemed like a very peaceful demonstration.
Use of snipers.
Law enforcement had deployed some sort of less than lethal, perhaps some pepper spray, and certainly some flashbangs. But what happened here was a step above. That was different. We saw some really significant physical interactions between the LAPD and these protesters. The size of the rocks and projectiles, I'm going to see if I can try to find another one for you, that were thrown were significant. This is a piece of concrete or road that was picked up and chucked. You can see some of the sharper end stones over here, much larger ones than that were Holder police. So this is something that I haven't seen quite some time in downtown LA. It was very intense, much more calm at the moment. But what's unclear right now, Jory, is how this thing ends.
Yeah.
Back to you.
Thanks. You've covered a lot of these. You know them pretty well. When you say that it's something that you haven't seen before, that is certainly saying something. And we have said that these officers and these vehicles have been under assault.
I don't know if I just lost you on the...
Yeah, that is not overstating the case. Matt Gutman from ABC News on the ground, and we appreciate his reports, and we'll continue to check in with what he is seeing down there on the ground as much as we can. Again, we say these officers are under assault, under attack. That is accurate. Every time we see a vehicle move in, reinforcements be moved in, they are assaulted. They are have projectiles thrown at them. We saw the back window of a Chevy Suburban shattered on live television as they were moving in to that scene. Back to the 101 freeway, just a short distance from where Matt is doing that reporting, we see that crowd continues to maintain their position on the southbound 101 freeway. it looks like there are some people now on the northbound side. 1 or 2 people have jumped the barrier and are now on the northbound side, which I think has now been shut down. Let's go to Gabe Santos in Air 7. Gabe, we see no vehicular traffic on the northbound. It looks like those officers, CHP, might be moving in right now on the southbound side as well.
Yeah, well, it looks like 2 things happened here. You had CHP move in on the other side. You have flashbang grenades going off, possible other less than lethal fire going off right now. It looks like tear gas canisters as well. But as far as the freeway is concerned, I'm not sure what happened first. If there were individuals that made their way onto the northbound lanes of the 101, or if CHP actually blocked traffic on the 101 first, because I see a little further back, we don't have to zoom in on it right now, but a little further back on the 101s, if we go a little south from here, there's a CHP unit that's actually blocking traffic right near an exit. So it's directing traffic to get off the freeway a little bit further back. And then,
turned around
so
and going,
Rob, our photographer, swung the camera back that way.
Turning right around and going the other way.
But you also saw, you also saw under the Los Angeles Street Bridge, those CHP units are spanning now both sides of the freeway. So you have CHP officers in SWAT gear on both sides of the freeway, and you had for a time some protesters climb the barrier there and get on those other lanes, but then it looks like they have now cleared and kept themselves to one side of traffic. So I'm not sure if that was an intentional decision on CHP to shut down both lanes of traffic. Going out on a limb here, I would imagine that's because CHP eventually, when they do decide to make a move and possibly move forward on these protesters and get them to get off the freeway, they don't want the danger of anybody jumping onto the other side and getting hit by a car. So that may be the tactic that CHP is using in terms of blocking both sides of the freeway now to get their officers on both sides of the freeway and maybe make a move here to clear the freeway.
Yeah, 100%. You don't want your officers at risk of vehicular traffic when you make your move. If we still have Bruce Thomas on the line, I do want to ask him, we see this group of CHP officers gathered beneath the overpass. I obviously think it's, I think I know why, but if Bruce could just talk about whether they are under there gathering to protect themselves from the crowd that is watching from above and the side so they don't get hit by anything from above.
Yeah, you're 100% right. They're seeking shelter underneath the freeway until they decide they want to move forward. Because one of the biggest concerns is you have people on the overpass which we've seen them throwing objects at law enforcement. So they do want to protect themselves because all they have to protect themselves is a riot helmet with a face shield. So I'm sure there are some people on an overwatch situation.
Yeah. So here we have 2 groups, and you think about, as we see this confrontation set to take place, the backgrounds of both of these groups. You have demonstrators who feel like law enforcement has invaded their community and taken away members of their community, sometimes members of their family. And on the other side, you have law enforcement who likely got into this profession to help people, keep them safe, and suddenly find themselves at odds and doing their job with the people they are tasked with protecting. It's a tough situation. You understand the motivations from both sides, but again, you hope we're not pitting citizens of our city against each other, but here we are. The LAPD,
go fuck yourself, suck a cock.
Tasked with maintaining peace and order, and here once again on the streets of Los Angeles and the freeways moving through Los Angeles, we have disorder and unrest as demonstrations have now stretched into day 3 in Los Angeles. All of it against the movements of ICE and DHS and the Trump administration against the immigrant community here in Los Angeles and Southern California. We saw unrest in San Diego this weekend. We saw unrest in Washington, D.C., in New York City. This is happening across the country as President Trump is trying to fulfill his promise.
This is what happens when you allow them in. This is what happens when you allow these illegals in. You give them everything for free. They want to keep getting it. They feel they're fucking entitled, and they're not. I mean, they're gonna do this because they don't want to stop getting free food, free rent, and all this other stuff. Section 8. They want Section 8. They want, free food, free housing, all this other stuff, and free health care. So this is what happens.
among them who have said they want to see every single person in this country without permission to be taken out, and they do so with violence.
I'm not going to allow stupid-ass news to just do that. Let's see.
Person had been using to ride up and down, kind of taunting that line of CHP officers in tactical gear, has now been taken into custody. The scooter was just dragged out of the way, and that person is now face down on the pavement being placed into handcuffs. The rest of the crowd, this is on the northbound side. This is where this group of officers is lining up and moving their way down. And you can see some folks on the other side, the demonstrators, lining up in front of the Jersey barrier, confronting them as well. There's a large crowd behind them, and vehicular traffic does appear to be moving on. No, that is the side street. My apologies. That is up above, I believe Aliso, overlooking the 101 freeway. But here we go. So officers from the CHP are now moving in. There is now officially a skirmish line on the southbound 101 freeway, and they want to get these demonstrators off the freeway surface. It appears as if they don't have to exert much pressure on these officers, on these demonstrators, as they are backing up. Unhappily, it seems, we see one gentleman there in black who is shouting at them, or woman, demonstrator in black who is shouting at them, going back and forth, very agitated, very animated. But that group is now slowly backing up. They are going to be have to be turned around, backed up, and turned around to go back up the on-ramp to get them off the surface of the 101. Gabe Santos is viewing all this from Air 7. Let's go back up to Air 7 and see what you're seeing from up there, Gabe.
Yeah, having the luxury of having this airborne view of this situation, you can really kind of see what CHP is trying to do. They have made a coordinated attempt of shutting down both sides of the freeway, and as more resources got onto the scene, they have a call out to all of CHP basically. So they're sending anybody and everybody that is available to come to the downtown area and help quell the scene here now that it has spilled onto the freeway. So CHP now, they have closed both sides of the 101 freeway at Los Angeles Street, and we saw that line of officers start to make their way down the southbound lanes of the 101, and it looks as if they are trying to make a circle, or at least a semicircle, around some of these protesters so that they are not just pushing them back and pushing them further up down the freeway. They're trying to get these people off of the freeway. And you even saw somebody on a scooter that was possibly taunting officers that eventually maybe got a little too close to an officer or maybe came close to.
I really should make an account on
they
all
were
this stuff.
immediately taken into custody. So CHP not taking any chances with anybody, and they are slowly and methodically pushing these protesters.
I think I'd actually close this down because
we're going to see that
just about nobody's watching this.
Groups of about 10
I
or
didn't
so
get this going on
in full right here,
some other platforms and
down,
stuff
those are
like
going to be the
that.
northbound lanes of the 101 freeway.